What's up, man? Cool Water, the digital dope man here with another episode in the Barroom Chats podcast where we talk about topics in the area of entertainment, politics, business, culture, and health. Barroom Chats podcast is created by me, Cool Water, in an effort to bring some serious but yet enlightening conversations to the forefront so that individuals like yourself on the receiving end can gain a little more insight, a little more knowledge, and get your opinions heard without feeling like you're going to be ostracized and demeaned if you got a different point of view. So, you know, the whole concept was just like being in the bar, you know what I'm saying? And you know, when you're in the bar sipping on something, you know, everybody's a little bit more relaxed and we can have a serious conversation, but yet still keep it, you know, calm, cool, and collected, you know, while the conversation is going on. But that's the real whole, you know, ideology behind the Barroom Chats podcast. Today, I'm backtracking a little bit because I didn't get around to the subject, but I wanted to talk about DaBaby. You know, young cat out here getting his money, doing his thing, and just so happened to say some so-called homophobic comments against the LGBTQ community. And they took that shit and ran with it and ran that broomstick up that brother's ass. And as a result, you know, he got to do the dog and pony show because he attached to the system. You see what I'm saying? So I said this before on a Facebook post. Because we as a community have no power, that causes individuals like DaBaby to have to run around and do the tap dance. So DaBaby was in his element doing a show. And in the midst of that, he said, yeah, you ain't, you know, gotta walk by nobody and see some gay ass nigga or something like that giving head. And somebody got a hold of that and they took that to the establishment. So he was really at the office, as we like to say, on stage, on the job, doing his job, rapping, talking shit about an individual situation, and they took it and tried to plaster it against a whole community of people. Like he was being, you know, anti-gay by making his comments. When everybody knows, most black folk, we ain't really got no issue with nobody who gay. Just don't bring it over here to me. So that's really what spawned it. And as a result, he had to walk around, you know, he was on the Southwest by Southwest tour. I think the Lapapalooza tour and another one. And they was doling out big chips, 200,000, 250, 275. You know, he supposed to be rocking with your girl, Megan Thee Stallion, and a few other top name artists. And as a result, they kicked him off the tour. And it was, you know, the old rhetoric of you got to get sensitivity training. So again, going back to things that I've said in the past, we're talking about power. DaBaby has no power because he's in an industry that is controlled and ran by white folks. Point blank. Black gatekeepers, white ownership. As Dr. Claude Anderson says in the book, Black Labor, White Wealth. And that's what it is. So DaBaby, after making a couple of apologies, had to go around and pretend, because that's really what he was doing, to be interested in the sensitivity training. I need to learn more about, you know, the community, and I need to learn more about all that is a group of individuals who have power and can make you bend to their will because you did something that they didn't like against their community. The Asians, the Jews, Italians, Hispanic, you name it, they got power. Black folks don't have no power. You see what I'm saying? We don't have no power. And because he's a representation of the black community, he, guess what, was forced to do what? Bow down, yield, beg, and plead to get his position back and ass kiss. Because you can't be on stage nowadays and say anything. I just got through doing something on Bootsy. Bootsy, because he's been in a position where he's not tied to nobody's paycheck, has been able to say stuff, but then there was that instance when Instagram snatched his profile. Banding. Because for them, Bootsy ain't no asset to the Instagram stratosphere. They could cut Bootsy loose. Now, Kim Kardashian, they wouldn't have done that. Kanye, they wouldn't have done that. Because they bring so many more millions of people. Bootsy, he may have a few million hovering, but he don't have no power. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? There's no power with Bootsy, and it serves no purpose to keep him around if he doesn't go along with the agenda, because he's not a major celebrity that people look up to and go ham when they see. You can catch Bootsy in the street by himself and ain't nobody gonna think none the less. TMZ, they not gonna go crazy when they see Bootsy. They gonna talk to him, get a couple of comments out of him, and they gonna skate on. Bootsy might have one security guard with him. But if you see Kanye, he got a bunch of folks. Because Kanye is the culture. You feel me? If you see Drake is the culture. Lil Wayne is the culture. So for them, Instagram is not going to jeopardize losing, because if these people say leave Instagram and they take their people with them, Instagram don't have nothing but a bunch of empty profiles. And they can't afford that. But they can afford to ban Bootsy because Bootsy yields no power. DaBaby, he yields no power. He's an artist signed to a label, whether it's independent production company, distributed by a major, what have you. He still don't have no power. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what I'll probably title this, DaBaby and the lack of power in the black community. Because he don't have none, and as a result of black community not having any, he's at whoever's beck and call calls him to let them run that broomstick up his ass because he said what he said and somebody else didn't like it. The crybaby generation is in full effect. See? That's where the issue lies. It's one of those situations where because we don't have any industries and we have not put anything in place that allow us to hone in on a particular skill set and dominate a particular niche market, we gotta go spend money with everybody else to supply our own needs. You see what I'm saying? And what that does at the end of the day is it puts us in a situation where we're vulnerable. So you take this hokey pokey shot that they sending out. As a result of the community not having no power, we just getting in line doing whatever we told to do. And most people are not willing to put in the mental labor necessary to be able to come to a real fruitful and intelligent conclusion about what's truthful and what's false. You see? About what's truthful and what's false. And it leads to more people giving in than more people fighting back. then more people fighting back. So Boosie, along with many other rappers who are tied to the corporate plantation, have to comply with what's being. I'm sorry. Did I say that? DaBaby. Let me make sure I got my mind right. DaBaby being tied to the corporate plantation, along with other rappers, have to comply with the orders given because somebody else is signing his checks. Somebody else is signing his checks. Somebody else is booking him on these shows. And if you don't kiss my ass the way I want you to, you can't play with my toys. And that's because the black community has no power, and we don't understand what power looks like. We don't understand how to play as a nucleus, as a team. You'll continue to have individuals like DaBaby getting shafted with a broomstick up their ass as a result of people who don't like us anyway, but want to use us for our talent, continually to demoralize us like they demoralized DaBaby. And I think it got to a point after he said a couple of apologies where he was like, I'm not apologizing no more. Y'all just taking this to the extreme. Y'all taking this shit to the extreme. And they're going to do that. And they're going to continue to take it to the extreme because we want to make sure we get our point across. You see? And I think that's the real issue. They want DaBaby and others to understand, if you don't do what I say do, you can't come over here and get in bed with me and make this money over here. Make this money over here. See, back in the 90s when hip hop was real and uncut, record labels didn't know what to do with it, but they was also scared of that alpha male energy. See? Because a lot of them dudes run up in them offices and bash them folks' heads in because they was from the street. And if you playing with my money, you playing with my livelihood, and you playing with my ability to feed my family. You see what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of record companies that was dealing with a lot of real gangsters was having them issues back in the day because they didn't know. Don't play with this man's money, because this man he gonna come see about you, and that's kind of what is not taking place today. You can't get into a record company now because they got so much security and the secretary, and they on the 10th floor. You coming in through the front door. They on floor 10. You can't get into the record office. You got to be buzzed up. They don't even let you in the door. You know, you can't just catch an elevator and get in and go into the front door. Not now. These people ain't taking no chances. If you ain't expected, you can't go. They calling up. So-and-so say you want to drop a packet off. Oh, leave it at the front desk. I've been through that many a time in the past. So, you know, we want to hope that DaBaby, you know, and I said this before to somebody else, if DaBaby had knowledge of self, and let's say he went to go see Minister Farrakhan, and he really understood the game and the way the game was being played, and DaBaby turned around and booked out 10 arenas or venues, because he couldn't do arenas, but 10 venues that held, let's say, 5,000 to 10,000 people a venue, or more, 15, whatever. Some of these football stadiums, he had the money to do it, and he could get about 3-4 artists to go get him on the ticket, and he charged $35 to $55 a ticket. He could make more money than if he was fooling with these clowns who keep wanting him to bend over so they can control him and eat the way he really want to eat without having to be a sucker doing it. But because he ain't got the knowledge of self, and he don't, you know, he ain't truly independent as he probably think he is, he had to go crawling back to the plantation. But if he would see somebody like Minister Farrakhan, and the minister told him what the move was and how to move, and educated him, somebody like Rick Ross, who done came off from under that BS and kind of just slid out there on the independent tip a little bit more. He'd be, or Master P, and get that game from some of them OGs. He would have had them people begging him to come back because he has market value, but it's because his market value is tied to a corporate entity that's making decisions, or some corporate sponsored venue who's doing shows. He has to bend over and take it up the butt, when all he has to do is say, man, I'm going to hold my nuts and go over here and I'm going to book my own shows. I'm going to put my own shit together. I'm going to show y'all how y'all not finna play with me. Y'all not going to play with my money. And them folks will go see DaBaby, because DaBaby be rocking. He be getting to it. You see what I'm saying? So, not to be long-winded, I think this is important that we take a serious look at what power looks like, so that at the end of the day, you don't have to continue to ass kiss to get looked at by an overworked physician, as Ice Cube would say. You don't have to continue to beg and plead. And I think that's what's most important, man. I think that's what's most important at the end of the day. So, we're going to wish DaBaby well. Hopefully, he will come out of this wiser and be planning and prepping for his next move, and put himself in a position where he ain't got to kiss nobody ass to eat. Hey, man, I'm Cool Water, the Digital Dope Man. Check me out. The blog is Hip Hop Dead. Look for me at the home base site, thedigitaldopeman.com. Peace and stay blessed. Holla.